Hello, it's a pleasure to be with you. We are going to share with you our communication entitled What Future for Education? An answer to the challenge launched by UNESCO. Thinking about education as a process whose access has to be generalized, and if collaborative processes are themselves learning processes, is the issue. The initiative proposed by UNESCO, Futures of Education, Learning to Become, it's an important challenge. This initiative, which aims to reimagine how knowledge and learning can shape the future of humanity and the planet, tries to mobilize people all over the world in order to reflect and generate dialogues on how education should be rethought to face the challenges that society faces. To fulfill this initiative, a group of students and teachers from the Pedagogical Council of a higher education institution in Portugal, IPVERJA, came together to reflect about this topic. Full citizenship can be understood in a triple concept: legal citizenship, political citizenship, and social citizenship. Working on these issues in schools at the levels of education, basic, secondary and higher education is a way to train citizens with more integrity, fairness and with greater sensitivity and attention to social issues. People capable of striving for equal rights and opportunities and non-discrimination, capable of claiming the right to have rights. The path to citizenship is deep, gradual work involving students, teachers and the surrounding community in the construction of a participatory and inclusive project with a view to preparing present and future generations to act appropriately and ethically and to be protagonists and disseminators of full citizenship. To achieve this goal, it is necessary to look at the local reality and communities, identifying exclusions and social problems and enabling each individual to promote the horizontality of relationships in order to provide situations of equality and contribute to territorial, social and cultural cohesion. So, citizenship is not an acquired fact. It is learned, but it is also a social and political achievement and a challenge. Education and school appear as the main means for this achievement. The balance between the eminentially technical contents that are taught and integral formation of citizens impose that we think about the citizenship processes developed by the different social institutions and, consequently, of the citizens who are being formed. Doing this collaboratively presents numerous advantages described by several authors over time. Starting from a script for the session created as part of a collaborative process already described in Dias et al., the group which the authors of this work belong was formed with 3 moderators and 5 participants, including a student. The moderators collected the set of contributions left, remaining in this background, guiding and redirecting the conversation in a non-invasive way, as recommended by UNESCO. The online session lasted 90 minutes and allowed participants to express themselves about what they consider education to be in 2050, what goals it should set and what specific actions should be taken. The discussion topics are shown and discussed to all of us. The results of the session were then systematized in a 2-page report sent to UNESCO. Results of the focus group discussion were immensely, as you may imagine. Concerning the view of the future participants expressed to feel some hope, the reasons mentioned are: first, in general, It is noted that young people are more attentive to aspects such as environment, quality of life, or protection of more fragile groups, for example, and that participation in discussion and intervention groups in society is more effective. For these reasons, networks that support social entrepreneurship are emerging. In the context of today's society, early childhood education will be able to form better citizens, we hope. Therefore, educational aspects must be also aligned with the evolution of society, values and technology. As worries, participants pointed out the following. First, individualism. This is a main issue. We are falling into self-centeredness, utilitarianism, and it is becoming increasingly difficult to relate. It is necessary to think education and to rethink education. Technological changes must be taken into consideration both in education and assessment. Sometimes we feel students seem to be lost. Education must be and must make information available, but also allow people to think for themselves, and the debate of ideas and pacific coexistence of different groups or disruptive ideas should not be limited by formal education, and mainly it can't be a problem. The defense of environmental causes and social values does not grow as quickly as necessary until 2050, and this is another problem. Taking in account the visions described before, participants were invited to think about the collective purposes of education in 2050. The main ideas shared were as follows. Well, there are some ideas. We've got two very strong ideas to share with you. Since education is a universal right, we must defend persons and give them the ability to promote their own occupational justice, to promote the necessary resources for his or their participation. Sharing knowledge and information on all aspects of human life, thus having a more active, more participatory, more just and more inclusive and more sustainable society without allowing extremes to prevail is another very important idea, very strong idea. This has been and still is a slow and painful process. It's quite difficult to achieve this process. It is, but quite necessary, of course. It is very important to contribute to keep our history alive and to promote peace through education. Thinking about how should what we learn, how we learn and where we learn may change the future. Participants shared the following aspects. Three main aspects again. Changes have to happen in a bottom-up way, maybe the most important, although it is also important the top-down actions. Sometimes the expression of organized groups is very scary. The less information and knowledge we have, the more we lack the legitimacy to understand the other, another human being. How to overcome the phenomena of extremist violence through the parental paths, top-down and bottom-up. So, acting daily with great patience, acceptance, tolerance, respect, and valuing the space of education every day is very important. When Bologna process spoke about acquisition of cognitive, motor and relational skills, it was assumed that students was the center of attention, not the curriculum. Today, students are still being channeled towards memorization, and when they reach higher education, they find themselves locked in their creativity. Currently, students are not valued for their creativity, but it is imperative that this changes. Teachers have to value other ways where students can achieve good learning results and achieve success without feeling insecure. We must work on multiple aspects of the human being. However, all the fears and insecurities that exist and that allow to change the actual paradigm are much more of adults, teachers, than of students. They are much more disponible to change and permeable to the change. Teachers are often who scare students and put them in role of subservience. Learning, and that's the last idea, learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, and that's where we have to change the way of learning. At school, we cannot be only attentive to the contents of the disciplinary fields, but also bring to the classroom the values, and lifelong learning has to be improved and stimulated. We must learn along our life period. Well, as final considerations, we may say that the importance of dialogue and discussion of common issues interested was considered in the UNESCO initiative as very important and a good opportunity for the widening of spaces for debate among school communities. In the case presented in this paper, we're taking advantage of the opportunity for dialogue created by UNESCO. The elements of the Pedagogical Council brings the idea of a pedagogical council that there is more than its adversary nature. It was a consensual idea that initiatives like this are fundamental to institutionalize the path of citizenship and collaborative work. Although there are still many reasons for concern, there is also a lot of hope in education as a way to contribute to a more dignified future, and all participants noted that many young people are more concerned with social and environmental issues and desire to protect people and nature. Education has the great capacity to keep our history alive. This aspect was also highlighted as a goal to keep present and constant. Aspects such as knowledge, understanding and respect for humans past can help society to transform itself by moving towards a more harmonious development. Well, we thank you all for your attention and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.